Do 10 push-ups in your head. If getting from 20 to 30 reps feels like progress, this is for you. That jump often means your workout got longer, not more muscular. Body weight does not beat weights just because it is body weight. It only builds well while the reps still create real tension. I'll show you the one representative trap that turns muscle work into endurance work, then the exact switch that fixes it. By the end, you'll know if your body weight training is still building muscle, the representative zone to aim for, and when to switch to a harder version or add load. First, the myth. Then what hard tension actually feels like. Then where reps stop helping. Then the simple rule that keeps body weight growing muscle. The first mistake is thinking body weight is somehow special. It feels athletic. It feels honest. It looks hard. None of that matters to your muscle. Your body does not care if the resistance came from a barbell, a dumbbell, or you moving your own body through space. It cares about force. It cares whether the target muscle has to work hard enough for the last reps to get ugly in a useful way. That is why this argument goes wrong so fast. People compare categories instead of stimulus. Then you get loyal to a method instead of loyal to results. Very human, also not very helpful. Here's the simple test. Ask one question. Are the last reps hard enough for the muscle you want to grow? That is the whole screen. In one direct comparison, push-ups match to about 40% loading built chest and triceps, almost the same as low-load bench press. So body weight clearly can build muscle well. It just is not magic. Be honest, on push-ups or pull-ups, do you switch to a harder version too early, or do you ride the representative count way too long? Now, the important part. A hard set is not just a set that burns. The burn is not the prize. The muscle grows when it has to produce high force. High reps can still do that, but only if the set gets close enough to failure. That is when the muscle has to bring in the fibers that do the real work. If you stop when it starts to sting or when the reps slow a bit, you often leave too early. This is where a lot of bodyweight training drifts off course. The set feels miserable, so you assume it must be productive. But if the exercise is now so light that it takes forever to get to those last few hard reps, a lot of that effort is just fatigued before the truly hard reps arrive. Muscle can grow across very light to moderate loads, but the moderate sets are the efficient middle. That is where tension, volume, and recovery line up. That is why the practical target is simple. Keep most working sets around 6 to 15 reps, and make sure the last 2 to 3 reps are genuinely hard with clean form. Not dramatic, just hard. That gives you something you can actually use. If a set lands there, it's probably still acting like muscle building resistance training. If it runs way past that, ask whether you're still building size efficiently or just getting very good at suffering for long periods. And this is the representative trap. It catches almost everyone. You start with push-ups, pull-ups, dips, split squats. At first, adding reps works fine. You get stronger, you grow. Then the basic version gets easy, but instead of making the move harder, you keep adding 5 reps here, 10 reps there, and call that progression. The reps went up, but the exercise did not get hard enough per representative to keep building much new muscle. Once a basic variation is easy, more reps mostly adds low-tension work. You are doing more total effort, but not enough more resistance per representative to keep driving growth well. So your sets drift into 20, 30, even 40 reps. The session gets longer, fatigue climbs, recovery gets eaten up, and the adaptation starts to look more like endurance than new muscle. That is the point where bodyweight stops looking great for size. Not because bodyweight failed, but because your progression failed. Higher load multi-set training worked best overall. Higher representative plans still worked, but needed more sets and more discomfort. That is the trade. More work for the same or worse results is usually not the bargain people think it is. So here's the rule. The moment you can hit 15 or more clean reps on a working set, stop chasing representative records. Make the exercise harder. Elevate your feet on push-ups. Add a deficit so you go deeper. Put weight on pull-ups or dips. Move to a harder row. Change the leverage on split squats. The workout should look harder over time, not just longer. If this just cleared up the difference between hard reps and just more reps, that's the whole video. Send this to the friend who treats a 40 representative set like automatic proof they're still building muscle. Now, there is one fair objection. People absolutely do build muscle with high representative body weight work. That's true. This is not me pretending 20 plus reps never work. They do. If the set gets honestly close to failure and the exercise still loads the target muscle well, you can grow. But the exception is not the rule. The real problem is that most people are much farther from failure than they think. High representative sets get messy. They burn early. Breathing gets loud. Form turns into negotiation. A lot of people stop when the set feels awful, not when the muscle has actually done enough hard work. That is why high reps are not the myth. The mistake is progressing mostly by adding more reps for too long. Trained lifters gained similar muscle from 25 to 35 reps and 8 to 12 reps, but got stronger with the heavier work. So yes, high reps can build. They're just less reliable and less efficient for most people once the reps get silly. Use high reps as a tool, not your whole plan. If a set regularly runs past 15 clean reps, graduate the exercise. Do not sit there proving how much discomfort you can tolerate. That's a different sport. If you like training explained this way, what actually grows muscle, what only feels productive, and how to tell the difference, consider subscribing. Use Bodyweight the same way you would use load progression. First, own a variation in the 6 to 15 range. Then, level it up with leverage, more range of motion, pauses, or external load so you stay in that range again. Over the next few weeks, the exercise should become more demanding, not just more repetitive. Bodyweight is not better because it's bodyweight. It builds muscle when the exercise still creates high tension. Once reps drift too high, the fix is to make the movement harder, not longer. The one thing to keep is simple. Stop progressing bodyweight by representative count alone. If you want more muscle, progress the tension.